Yo, what's shaking, everybody? Welcome to a breaking news injury update here on Orange Bloods Live. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That is Anwar Richardson. And yeah, we're bringing you the bad news. If you hadn't already heard, Texas potential All-America running back Jonathon Brooks out for the year with an ACL injury after what took place in the fourth quarter of last night's win over TCU. Guys, even though it's not the greatest news in the world, do us a follow, do us a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, get notifications if you haven't already done so. Anwar, we had a bad feeling last night in the post-game show. The pictures weren't good. The vibes weren't good. And here we are today. It's not good.
Yeah. That was the vibe I was getting last night. Obviously, like I said, when in the post game, we were doing a post game show talking about everything. There was, it was one of those things that as I was hearing it, it's one of those like, all right, let's not overreact. Let's let this thing play out just in case. Like, you sometimes you have these injuries that happen, and you think it's the worst at the moment, and then they go and get checked, and it's like, it's not as bad as you may have thought that it was. But throughout the night, I spoke to a source last night, like after we got done, and they were saying, they were telling me like they were worried about his draft stock next year. That's how bad it was, and that's how bad the feeling was. And then of course we find out, this morning that it was starting to sound like it was going to be an ACL injury. We kind of put that report out there, and then sure enough, a few hours later, UT confirms that it is an ACL season ender. There's many ways to go, Catch. I'll go with the damn that sucks, portion of it for him. Just to think of before I even get into the NFL, before I get into should he come back or should he not stay, and all these other kind of things, those fair conversations that to be had. I'll just start with it sucks for a man that had really gone from a backup running back to start the season to a guy that was looking like the number one back in the country. Like, there was a hell of a story. It was a hell of a rise, and you don't see that too often. And so just to know that his season is over, just for him and everything he's gone through from Hellcat. You remember him from the recruiting process to being a guy that didn't have a whole lot of things. I think Texas was like one of his first major offers. He's sitting behind Bijan and Roshan and just waiting. Like I said, starts the season as a backup. Just to like, damn it, man, that just sucks. That sucks. I'll just start there.
It's we'll get into the team stuff and what it means to CJ Baxter and Jaden Blue and my dog's health if they don't stop barking. Let's start with the fact that this is a life-altering last 24 hours for it's gonna be one of these videos. I got no one to help me with the dogs. Oh, what, you want to come in? And this one wants to come in and let you know, Anwar.
Yeah.
It's not her. No. No.
What's going on over there?
I want you to know. No, it's not her that's causing the ruckus.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm just going to put it on mute for a
second. Okay.
I literally have a Weimaraner and a golden doodle wrestling on the couch right now. Like, I don't know what to do. I'll just continue. It's a live chat. It's a live.
Is there no one else in the house who can help you, Catch? Is there no?
The house is empty. My wife and kids literally just left. There's nobody. I mean, I could go pause it and like go PETA on these dogs, but at some point, presumably they will stop barking or not. 48 hours ago, I talked to John Harris from Football Takeover, Houston Texans sideline reporter, NFL draft guru. He was convinced, absolutely convinced, that Jonathon Brooks would be the number one running back on a number of NFL teams' draft boards going into the year. I had talked with sources last week that had pretty much chalked off the idea that Brooks would be able to come back with like a big NIL deal or something. He's had a special season and had positioned himself to, the first pick of the third round last year. They got 5.8 million and like 1.5 up front or something like that. And at worst, you started to get the vibe that he might be a second round-ish pick. What happens last night is a multi-million-dollar loss for that young man. Whether or not he'll ever be able to recoup the dollars or the years that will be lost along the way as he tries to rebuild his body and get back into this position. And, this happening in November makes it really tricky for him to get back on the field in time for the start of next season. So it's devastating. It's devastating for him on a personal level significantly. Like, that's the kind of thing that changes his entire family's life outlook. So starting there, it's an absolutely brutal loss for the young man. Now,
by the way,
I'm going to deal with the dogs for just a second.
Okay. Just to build off of that, though, they're also, as relates to the Jonathon Brooks injury, there is the hernia that kept him out last year. And so, not say last year, but the spring of this year. So you have the surgery that was had there this year. You have the knee injury. And now when you start thinking about running backs, and as far as the NFL is concerned, there always becomes that kind of like, ugh, how often is this guy getting dinged up? How often is these things happening to him? And again, when you start talking about the one thing you don't really want to have as a running back is you don't want to have knee injuries. Like, it just is what it is. Like, you have the knee, teams look like that and like, oh man, it's not a hamstring. Again, we got modern technology, all those kind of things, but nonetheless, again, we've got misses the spring this year, and then potentially can miss spring of the following year. Yeah, it does become a thing that hurts. And then again, for a person that, I had GMs telling me, or hearing from GMs just several weeks ago, in fact, I started putting it out there that people thought he was the best running back in the draft. So to catch his point, all that is 100% true.
From a team standpoint, Anwar, they just lost their team MVP. Now, they got 2 games to go. They're trying to win their first Big 12 championship in 14 seasons. It's a big loss. I mean, he had over 170 all-purpose yards last night before the injury in the fourth quarter. Maybe he finishes with over 200. You're talking about the nation's 6th leading rusher, and he's 6th in all-purpose yards. So he's a huge producer on this offense in both phases of the game. Next week's was already going to be a really tricky week in Ames. This team has to kind of rebuild itself a little bit on offense with a running back in CJ Baxter that has been underwhelming at times this season, even though we know some of that is injury related. They'll have to do it with a running back that mostly isn't trusted in Jaden Blue. That guy just isn't a guy that the coaches have given a lot of opportunities to this season. And you got a passing game with a quarterback that right now does not want to be hit at all. So, I think we're in the red area with danger for the offense. You'd like to think that they could handle the rest of the season and figure this stuff out on the fly. But I think it's so impactful that we can't just take it for granted that they'll show up on Saturday on the road against in Ames, and everything will be exactly the way that it was 24 hours ago.
I mean, 100% catch. I mean, again, you and I kind of had talked about this like last year, and by the way, the other running back, obviously, catch when you start mentioning the other guys, I just forgot about it. Keelan Robinson, who is usually is kind of underwhelming as far as a running back. production is concerned as well, right? So and you and I had the conversation before the season, and we kept saying like, hey, just don't think you're automatically going to be able to replace Bijan, and don't automatically think that you can replace Roshan. Like, those guys are special backs. And you have a guy like, with Jonathan Brooks that was kind of able to defy those odds and be able to do that. But Catch, I'm not going to sit here and say next man up. You got Jonathan Brooks, but you know what? Guess what's going to happen? Now CJ Baxter is going to come in there, and he's going to be the next guy that just balls out. Like, that one is not as easy of a task and not easy as an ask. And so, with the thing that's helped Texas this season has been able to have a guy like Brooks who is so versatile that teams have to, account for, and all the things that he's been able to do. Now with him gone, it does change a little bit of the dynamics of the offense. We do our Prize Pick show, and we got Brooks over 100 like every single week at this point. It's just like guaranteed. Like what is it? 120? I'll take the more, right? I mean, that's pretty much what we've done. And so, and now with CJ, the lines are probably gonna be set at like 60 something. When you go on the road, you got Iowa State, and then of course you got Texas Tech. Yeah, it does change a little bit of the offense. It's not as easy as plug and play with the nation's best running back, right? That's just where we're at, where the nation's best running back is. And so, this will have to be, a major task and a major ask for Steve Sarkisian, who, we know for the most part, Catch, Sark going to do what Sark going to do. Like Sark is going to look at stuff, and he will say like, hey, I just run what I run, and I just want my guys to fill it in. So he's still going to run the ball. And we know CJ Baxter is going to get a ton of touches, and we know Jaden Blue will get the CJ Baxter role. But what this looks like over the next 2 games for a team that's competing for the playoffs and of the Big 12 championship, to lose the nation's top running back. Yeah, man, it's not an easy task or easy ask for this offense, especially even in the passing game for him.
I mean, we've joked all year about CJ Baxter being Sark's boo. Yeah, he loves Baxter. The reality, and so Baxter's going to get the featured role in this offense that Sarkisian thought he was going to get when he made Baxter the starter before the season ahead of Jonathan Brooks. The reality so far this season, whether or not it's injury related or not, CJ Baxter's a 4.5 yards per carry guy, which is, it is basically, if you look at their running game, Keelan Robinson averages 7 yards a carry, but he just barely gets the ball. Brooks was at 6.1. Jaden Blue, whose entire life also might have changed in the last 24 hours because you were probably thinking that he was an obvious transfer candidate, given that Baxter is Sark's boo. And they got more guys coming in the running game next year. But now he finds himself as – it wouldn't completely surprise me if at the end of the year we look at Jaden Blue and say he's the best running back on the Texas roster. He's averaged 5.8 yards per carry all season. That's 1.3 yards per carry more than Baxter has this season. So I'm kind of interested to see – we know that you're going to keep running the football. Who really emerges now from here as the guy that Sark can trust on 3rd and 6? Who's going to get you 6 yards? All season long, Jonathan Brooks has been that guy. 3rd and 9, Brooks can get it. I mean, even last night you see they get in close to the red zone after the interception late in the second quarter, gets them at the 22, and they run the ball with Brooks when you think it's a passing down situation, and all he does is score a touchdown. And you go, oh, no, touchdown. Never mind. That was a great play call instead of something that I was kind of questioning. But he had reached a level where even if conventionally it didn't make sense to give him the ball in a certain kind of game situation, Brooks was delivering every time. And now they don't have that guy in this offense. I think if this happens in week 3, week 4, week 5 onward, we would say, all right, well, we know Sark wants to sling it too. So here goes Quinn Ewers. Maybe this is going to be more for Adonai Mitchell, more for Xavier Worthy. But this happens at a time. They'll go into Ames next week, and they'll still not want Quinn Ewers to be taking any shots at all. I mean, I don't think he got hit last night, which A, is a massive credit to the offensive line, but B, it speaks to how quickly they wanted the ball out of his hands, how uninterested he was in running the football, and I don't think that changes in the next 5 days. So, Sark's going to have to do a really great job of coaching this week.
It really does. And, again, like you said, we're so late in the season where he's got his quarterback who's banged up. He's got an injury. You just lost your starting running back. That's out there. And so, and then, like you said, you're going into Ames, tricky team. This conference has been wacky. This conference was wacky all year long. And so, you've got to be able to find a way. And again, find the guys who can fill it in, fill in that, Jonathan Brooks, to your point. I mean, if you ever needed not only a safety valve, but almost the main valve, he was it. He gave you everything that you needed, to the point where we would look at the Savion Red package and we're like, why don't you just hand it to Brooks? Like, why are we even doing this package thing? Like, just give it to that guy. This
might mean more Savion Red package.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
It's not.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if you want to see that. I mean, no, you want to see plays that give you positive yardage. Like, that one ain't cutting it. So, but I know we got some super chats that have come in here as well, Catch. So I don't want to keep them delayed either.
Well, we'll knock these out real quick. Tom G says, after a rewatch, do you still think it's a dirty play? I do after watching it about 10 times. I felt like they went after Brooks and X all game. Well, that's part of the thing. It's bang, bang. I've watched it 100 times. I've watched it frame by frame. I still see him hook the leg and turn it and let it go. Did that cause the injury? Like, could that cause a torn ACL? I have questions about that. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's a coincidence that happens on that play, but I don't know that a guy turning your leg like that can tear the ACL. But how can you give any of the TCU guys benefit of the doubt after numerous just cheap shots last night? The worst was when Xavier Worthy was on the ground and one of the TCU defenders literally speared him with his helmet. And it was like, what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? And the TCU DBs were guilty of some misdeeds all night long. So maybe I'm watching it closely because those other things happen, but I can literally show you a still shot of as he's turned over, he's got the leg wrapped inside his arm. And as he turns over, the thing that he doesn't do, which is kind of like a masterful, like if you know how to spot dirty play, it's kind of a tip of the cap because he was able to turn it, but there's no holding on to it at all. So it's so bang, bang that you can absolutely get people who look at that and go, I don't see anything. I kind of did like the JFK film. Like I'm frame by frame looking to see where the impact of the injury is and what's going on with the arm. I think it was a dirty play. That's not to say the guy that did it's a dirty player. It's a little bit like when you say somebody doesn't tell the truth and they get all mad and say, don't call me a liar. I don't know enough about that guy. I don't watch him game in and game out. That could have been the first time any such thing like that has ever happened with him. but it looked like in real time to me when I watch it, and it looks to me worse at full speed because you can see the power with which the leg is inside the arm, and you can see how much power there is in the turn. And then the next thing you see is Brooks crawling off the field. So for me, it's hard to separate the two. I think some people would be bothered by the fact. Look, I know what I'm saying when I say I think it's a little dirty. I know that will make some people seriously flinch because it's a hell of a thing to say. But I'm not backing off what I said last night. It's what I thought in real time. I don't know that it caused the injury at all, but to my naked eye, it still looks like that today.
Hard to disagree. We can do the next one.
And look, you've been doing these shows with me for 9 years, Anwar. How many times have I ever said a play was like a guy did something that I thought was a little bit dirty?
The fact that I can't think of one off the top of my head shows how little it's been.
I don't think I've ever done it.
I've there's things that I remember only once or twice in my duration here that you even mentioned the officials. I think the Charlie Strong game versus Oklahoma State, and there may have been one other time. That's it. So I say it all to say you don't usually go for things that are outside of the normal scope of X's and O's.
I'm just saying I'm not the kind of guy that goes around calling the opposition players dirty. I never do that. So that I thought that last night, and I still think that today. And look, it's close, but there's no getting around the fact that somehow Brooks's leg gets inside an arm bar. We can debate whether or not that's dirty or not, but that's not something that I think you regularly see. Just my opinion. William says a day later, what do you think about the defender? William, I think we got it. That's it. Sorry about that. One more super chat. I'm going to scream at hold on just a sec. I hate to lose JB, but I'm excited to see Blue. He's had flashes like JB did previously. Blue seems to have a different gear. It will also let us see if we should let him go in the portal depending on play.
Wow. Okay. Sure. I mean, it is Jaden Blue time, and Jaden Blue has been very effective when it's all said and done. In his time that he's played in those limited snaps. So I think you're Jaden Blue. I just think you say to yourself, when I get this opportunity, I'm the number 2 guy, and I've already seen that. I've seen one number 2 guy find a way to eclipse Cedric Baxter. Let me just be the next guy.
Sorry, I had my mic on mute.
Well, for good reasons.
So, it is what it is. I agree with you. I do. Look, I don't know how much more there is to actually talk about it today. I mean, there are implications with Blue.
We'll have overreaction tomorrow. We'll have more time let's just make sure we get the news out. There's another super chat that came in from Texas Boy, and we can knock that one out as well.
Why not let Jay Witt run the red package?
It's not the worst idea in the world.
I don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it either.
I think, though, the moment you do that, Savion Red's like, I'm out of here. I can't even – I'm 4th or 5th on the depth chart. You won't even let me keep my package. But do I think Witt would maybe do it better? Yeah.
I mean, all due respect, if I'm just talking about football and not the person as the person, the package ain't working, and dude's on the sideline getting 15-yard penalties. I'm not quite sure he's sitting in any position of leverage at this moment to say, hey, man, you don't play ball. I'm going to take mine and run. You got to, all due respect, it's all good. It's all good if that's how it goes down.
No doubt about it. All right, guys. I'm literally, if I don't get off, I'm gonna kill some dogs.
Yeah, I can tell. Hey, Overreaction Monday. Catch will be back. No dogs. 8:45. My show will be here at 8 o'clock in the morning. And of course, so horns up from 6:30 to 7:30. So get your day started. Follow me. I'll come up right behind you, the Old Fashioned Sports Show at 8 o'clock. And then Jeff Ketchum will join me. No barking dogs. We'll have a chance to talk about it, digest it, talk to our sources a little bit more about this. There's more things that we're getting and more things that we'll be able to get into. We'll have a bigger conversation about what this means. We've talked to, Ketch is talking to guys. I've talked to guys. NIL, they play a part in bringing Jonathon Brooks back for next season. So there's going to be, that conversation that we've had. So there's a lot going on. Ketch, go handle the dogs. I will see you first thing tomorrow morning. All right. And thank you for checking it. By the way, hit like to the video, hit subscribe to the channel. If you see that little button there that says subscribe, gives you all the notifications. So when things like this happen, it's on a Sunday, and you're thinking to yourself, like, what the heck is going on? You subscribe to the channel, then you know that we just done a video. So for Jeff Ketchum, for the dogs, and for Blake, we will see you guys tomorrow. You guys take care.